what's good, Commanders fans, and happy Friday. So, of course, everybody knows the news now that the Commanders have significant interest in Deebo Samuel, and this is per Schultz report. Jordan Schultz, I think that's the guy who got in an altercation with Ian Rappaport at the Combine. So, I know Jordan Schultz is probably very happy to get this news out and to be one of the first people. Now, I'm not going to say he's one of the first, people have been saying this for a couple weeks now. And it's obvious to make the connection here with Deebo Samuel to Washington with Adam Peters, and people want to come here now. We're a destination. People want to come here. People want to play with Jaden Daniels. People want to play with Terry McLaurin. People want to play for Dan Quinn. People want to play for Adam Peters. So we are legit a destination. And Adam Schefter said this at the trade deadline, or right before the trade deadline, saying that people want to play with the Commanders, and this is one of the people. It seems like that Deebo wants to do this now. I already said in a previous video, I'm not very high on Deebo. He is overweight at the moment. I think they do need to put some stipulations or something like that in his contract. If they can restructure whatever with the contract, Adam Peters can work something in there. But I think they should be. I don't think they should make this move. I really feel like he's going to be released. But there's actually multiple teams, so it's that I can't even say that he would be released, because Jordan Schultz said the Texans have interest in trading for Deebo Samuel as well. So we're not the only team. That's the thing. We're not the only team. Yeah, so he says the Commanders and Texans have had significant interest in trading for 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel, with talks progressing in recent days, sources tell NFL on Fox. Other teams, including the Steelers and Broncos, have also checked in, but Houston and Washington are believed to be the most aggressive. So let's say they don't I would only give up a 6th round pick, and I'm just being honest. I mean, they're probably gonna want a 5th round pick. That's probably what they're going to want for Deebo. But you look at his contract, and he has 1 year left on his deal, really. There's a potential out for the Niners after this season, which is what they could do if they can't find a trade suitor, which they have us and the Texans. But the 2025 season is the last year on his deal. He's 29 years old, and he's a free agent in 2026. So this could potentially be a 1-year rental. And to me, I would rather just sign a free agent. I know Chris Godwin's not available, T. Higgins are not available, but I'd rather go with either Amari Cooper. You don't have to spend a draft pick, even though I'm not high on Stephon Diggs because of the off the field activities and stuff like that, dating Cardi B. I just feel like there's better options in free agency and just drafting somebody. And you hear the other teams going after DK Metcalf. That's the guy that I would rather trade for than Deebo Samuel, who's on the downside of his career. DK Metcalf can do more than what Deebo Samuel gives as catching the football. Deebo Samuel has been on the decline the last couple of years. He doesn't create separation. He looks overweight, out of shape with the Eagles jersey on. He literally just wore an Eagles jersey. I know he's supporting A.J. Brown, but still, I don't want that on my team. He just punched the long snapper in the face after the kicker missed the kick. That's not a culture guy to me, honestly. And then he complained about touches, and then he dropped passes this year. He was complaining on Twitter about not getting the ball enough and complaining. I just don't want him in Jaden Daniels' ear complaining about touches. He was the 3rd best option on the Niners team. Juwan Jennings was doing better than him. Brandon Ayuk was doing better than him before he got hurt. There was at times where Ricky Pearsall was a better option. George Kittle, of course, a better option. So he was the 3rd or 4th fiddle in that offense. Now, he will be potentially an upgrade over Noah Brown and De'Ami Brown and the number 2s that we had, like Olamide Zaccheaus and James Crowder, guys like that who were trying to be number 2 to Terry. But, I just feel like there's better options. I just feel like you don't have to really panic right now and trade in February or early March and make a move for Deebo Samuel when you could potentially wait for them to be released. But at the same time, are the Texans really that desperate where they're going to trade for Deebo Samuel? So that's just my take on it. It probably will be a 1-year rental, honestly. You look at the numbers, and maybe the Niners may eat some of the contract, but I'm just low on the move. But I'm just going to sit back and trust Adam Peters. I know everybody in the comments is going to say, hey, sit back, relax, and trust Adam Peters. The Marshawn Lattimore trade right now is still up in the air, so you got to be patient on that. But this would be the 2nd trade that Adam Peters is making. But I like him being aggressive. That's what I will say. Because you don't want to just rely on a rookie wide receiver out there to produce next to Terry McLaurin. So, Myles Garrett is on the table too. So, if Adam Peters bases this offseason on making trades, I'm fine with it. I really am. But trading for Deebo Samuel, to me, is questionable. If you trade for Myles Garrett and then trade for another receiver, I'm fine with that. But we'll see. I mean, the offseason possibly could be Adam Peters trading the 1st round pick for Myles Garrett and then trading the 5th round pick for Deebo Samuel. And then all you're going to have is your second round pick, a couple sevenths, and I believe we have a fifth, and we have the other third round pick. So we wouldn't have a lot of picks, but this is what happens when you're in win now mode. When you feel like you're close to a championship, these are the kind of moves that you do make. 51 catches for 670 yards and 3 touchdowns. He did have a couple injuries. I know Christian McCaffrey was hurt, and that's the excuse. He only had 3 touchdowns on the season, which is pretty underwhelming. One of the best they call him a wide back, or he calls himself a wide back, a running back, and a receiver at the same time. I'd rather just have a regular old receiver that can run routes and create separation like Amari Cooper, to be honest. Or if Chris Godwin was available, that's the kind of receiver that I feel like Jaden needs. A guy that can quickly separate and get open. That's just the identity that I feel like we need, not a wide back. Deebo had 892 yards in 2023, which is pretty good. 7 touchdowns. He had 632 receiving yards in 2022, which is pretty average. Pretty average. 1,405 receiving yards in 2021. That's incredible, though. 6 touchdowns. Rushing 365 yards, rushing, and 8 rushing touchdowns, which is insane. 5 rushing touchdowns in 2023. So we'll see how Cliff can use them and get in his bag. And Cliff has been creative. He was very creative last year, and maybe some 4th down situations you get creative and use Deebo Samuel in a wildcat formation, or just handing the ball off to Deebo just to switch it up here and there with another running back that we draft, or Austin Eckler in the mix too, B-Rob in the mix too, and then somebody that we draft at the running back position too. So there's a lot of ways that you can be creative with Deebo Samuel, so he can get in his bag and do that reverse jet sweeps, all kinds of stuff like that. Deebo is a competitor. He is a tough guy. He does play with a chip on his shoulder. He's very physical. He brings physicality to the team as well. So those are some of the positives there. A former Pro Bowler and whatnot. But I mean, there's pros and cons to this, man. And I kind of like what John Frisella said. He said, "Update: the Washington Commanders are working very hard to secure a trade for wide receiver Deebo Samuel. Just personally, I think this is the lack of patience on their part. Deebo is on the downside of his career. Plenty of fish in the sea for Washington." Those are my thoughts, really. That just echoes my thoughts. And he's only had a 1,000-yard receiving season in 1 out of the 6 seasons that he's played in the NFL. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 seasons in the NFL. He's only had one 1,000-yard season. But rushing, he's done pretty well. I mean, the highest rushing yard season he had was 365 yards rushing with 8 touchdowns, which is pretty insane for a wide receiver, for a wide back. So, I mean, there's pros and cons to it, but we know the Adam Peters connection with Deebo Samuel for sure. So it makes sense. It's kind of inevitable. It's kind of like we know this is going to happen. And Noah Eyes wearing number 1. He's a free agent, so I would imagine that a Deebo Samuel number 1 jersey would be selling pretty well. Commander shirt for sure. Matthew Berry on what he's hearing about Deebo Samuel. He says Deebo Samuel is going to get traded within the next couple of days, not released. He's going to get traded, and it's going to happen in the next couple of days. So keep the radar out, guys. Keep the radar out. So I would bet some money that Deebo Samuel is going to be traded to the Commanders. So I could definitely see that. And then Josh Taylor. Make sure you guys check out his YouTube channel. He's been saying a lot of. I'll give him his credit. He's saying a lot of stuff. He's talked a lot about the Deebo Samuel situation for really the past couple weeks or the last month. He said, a couple of notes. I've been told a trade happens very soon, and I believe it's Washington. Deebo weighs about 220 pounds and is in great shape. He gets down to 216 before training camp. Also, Texas is tempting for tax reasons, but Deebo is a big fan of Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury. How could you not be a big fan of Jaden Daniels and Cliff at this point? So that's the big thing there that I really think he's going to make a move. And Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, I would assume they will help Adam Peters out. So that makes sense there too. It makes a lot of sense. So, all right, you guys let me know what you guys think. As always, have a great weekend. Enjoy the Combine. Hail the Commanders. Peace. And like I said, I know there's going to be a lot of conflicting comments and stuff like that. Like I said, if Adam makes the move, I'm on board. I support it, but I'm here to state my opinion. I'm not going to agree with everything that Adam does, but I love the aggressiveness. I will say that. But I prefer a receiver that can separate and get open, a la Chris Godwin, a la Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs when he's healthy, and Garrett Wilson. I think maybe you wait till the draft to see what the Jets do and get desperate. Like, does he really request a trade or something like that? That's kind of the patience that I would have and just see. But, I mean, the Texans are kind of putting the pedal to the metal. We haven't heard anything about Cooper Kupp, though. I haven't heard any teams really have strong interest in Cooper Kupp. That's the one interesting thing there, too. All right, you guys. As always, Hail the Commanders. Peace.